The Vimana Protocol. Ancient flying machines. They tried to hide intro, 00 to 045. For most of human history, we've believed that flight is a modern achievement. The story we're taught in school is simple. In 1903, the Wright brothers built the first powered airplane, and that was the beginning of humanity conquering the skies. But what if that story isn't entirely true? What if thousands of years ago, long before modern technology, ancient civilizations were already describing flying machines? Not birds, not myths. Machines. Machines that could travel across great distances, rise vertically into the sky, and even move between worlds. These mysterious crafts were called Vimanas, and according to ancient texts, they were very real. Tonight, we're diving into one of the most controversial ideas in ancient history. Because some researchers believe the evidence was never lost, it was buried. Section 1. The Ancient Texts, 045 to 330. The story of Vimanas comes primarily from ancient Sanskrit texts written thousands of years ago. These include the Ramayana and the Mahabharata, two of the most important epics in Indian history. Inside these texts are descriptions of incredible machines that sound surprisingly advanced. They weren't simply described as chariots pulled by animals or gods. Instead, the texts describe structured vehicles with detailed mechanical features. They are said to rise vertically into the air, travel enormous distances in a short time, move silently across the sky, and sometimes even glow with energy. One passage from the Ramayana describes a craft known as the Pushpaka Vimana. It's described as a flying palace that could carry multiple passengers and travel anywhere at the will of its pilot. Almost like an aircraft, or even a spacecraft. Some descriptions even mention different types of Vimanas designed for different purposes: passenger travel, warfare, exploration. But here's where things get even stranger. Some ancient texts describe aerial battles, battles taking place in the sky between flying machines, weapons of light, blinding flashes, powerful explosions, descriptions that some modern readers say sound surprisingly similar to advanced technology. Of course, many historians say these are simply metaphors or mythology, but others believe the descriptions are far too detailed to be pure imagination. Section 2. The Strange Discoveries, 330 to 630. Over the years, a number of strange discoveries have added fuel to the mystery. Archaeologists working in India have uncovered ancient carvings and artwork that some believe resemble flying craft. These carvings appear in temples and ancient sites that date back hundreds or even thousands of years. Some researchers claim certain cave paintings appear to show figures sitting inside structures that look almost like cockpits. Pilot-like figures surrounded by shapes that resemble panels or controls. Now, skeptics say these interpretations are exaggerated. They argue that humans have always imagined gods flying through the sky, and artists simply depicted those stories in symbolic ways. And to be fair, that explanation could very well be true. But the mystery doesn't stop in India, because when researchers started looking around the world, they began noticing something interesting. The same kinds of strange imagery seem to appear in other ancient cultures, too. Section 3. The Global Pattern, 630 to 9. Across the planet, ancient civilizations left behind mysterious images and structures that seem strangely connected to the idea of flight. In Egypt, there are carvings inside the Temple of Dendera that some claim resemble large light bulbs or electrical devices. In Peru, the famous Nazca lines stretch across miles of desert, massive shapes and geometric patterns carved into the ground. From the ground, they're almost impossible to fully see, but from the sky, they become perfectly visible, which raises an obvious question. Why would an ancient civilization create massive images meant to be viewed from the air if no one could fly? Then there are carvings in parts of Southeast Asia that some people believe resemble helicopters or aircraft shapes. Most archaeologists explain these as overlapping carvings or misinterpretations, but the idea remains fascinating. Could ancient cultures around the world have been describing something we no longer understand? Or is the human imagination simply very good at seeing patterns where none exist? Part 2, Tease 9 to 10. So far, we've looked at the ancient texts, the strange carvings, and the mysterious patterns that appear across different civilizations. But the most controversial part of this story might not be the ancient past. It might be what happened in the modern world. Because in the 20th century, researchers, scientists, and even government agencies began quietly studying ancient technology theories. Some documents were declassified decades later, and they revealed something surprising. Intelligence agencies were paying attention to ancient astronaut theories. Why would governments be interested in stories about ancient flying machines? Was it just curiosity? Or were they looking for something specific? In the next episode, we're going to explore the alleged government interest in ancient technologies, the strange rumors surrounding hidden research programs, and the question that keeps coming up again and again. What if ancient civilizations knew something that we've forgotten?